Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Howdy y'all, red.olaughlin here. We're on the corner bookstore today on the USA Global TV and Radio Network, and I'm honored to have Julie Strong as my guest today. Before I get there, you might notice that I have a little redness in and around my eyes. I've been fighting is a good word, dry eye for literally over a decade. And I was very fortunate toward the end of last year to find a dry eye specialist with nearly 100% success rate in treating it. Well, he's definitely got rid of my dry eye, but in the meantime, I got a bit of an eye infection or something, allergy. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it just makes me look a little weird. So just the elephant in the room, figure, let's just get rid of it up front. That way you're not wondering what's going on. But anyway, I write nonfiction. I primarily research the human body at the cellular level. Chemically speaking, I look for cause and effect relationships. Our guest today does a similar cause and effect relationship with regard to disease, and we'll get into that down the road. But she approaches it from a totally different perspective than my approach from the chemical end of things. So with that being said, there's a little hint out there of things we'll be talking about. But Julie Strong lives in Halifax. She's an author. She's a retired medical professor, a medical physician. She's does a show called History Bards Down Under. She's got a new book coming out later this month. She's practices shamanism. She's a lecturer at the college level, world traveled, a lot of things to be said. She has a brand new book coming out, her first novel, literally here in about 2 weeks, it seems like, maybe a little bit more, but not much. So with that being said, Julie Strong, please join us.
Thank you, Red, for that lovely introduction. And it is an honor to be here today on your show.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. You lived in a number of different places, and I'm just wondering how much of that has influenced your writing, because I was doing a little research on you. You lived in England and Wales and Australia, and you have a tie into Australia with the history bards, etc. How much do you think your exposure to outside of just a single country has contributed to your writing ability and experience? Okay, maybe we have a little bandwidth problem this morning. Okay, with that being said, okay, we're going to go ahead and continue on here. Let me tell you a little bit more about Julie while things are being reset back there in the background. She practices shamanism, and she uses that to look at the spiritual cause of disease in our body, and that's one of the topics that I would like to get around to looking at today. Her website is Julie, Juliek Strong, STRONG.ca for Canada. She lives in Halifax right now. She does a number of public readings, usually at the college level. She's a playwright. She's written other books in the past. I think she's working right now on her memoir. But there's a lot of things coming up. Her book launch is January 25th, literally in just a couple weeks. And hopefully she'll be back here to join us in just a moment. If not, I will continue going. She is a lecturer. She reads periodically in her public readings. I was hoping to get her to read a little bit of her book, her new book today, her first novel. And Okay, so there she's joining us again. Let's hope that we have good contact this time. Okay, Julie, go.
Right, I think that,
Okay, we're still having a little bit of bandwidth. Julie, may I ask you one more time to disconnect completely and go back in, hit the link for StreamYard, reset your Wi-Fi, whatever you need to do. But your interview here today is super critical for the show, for you, for a lot of things. Just you have so much information to share. I'd like to make sure people can hear you very, very well, and that we're not looking at you saying something and half a second later your lips are starting to move. So let's see if we can maximize your presentation ability today. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and reset that. She's in Halifax, Canada. A lot of weather between here and there. Sometimes even without the weather, we have problems. But the bandwidth is one of those things. Even here where I'm at in Texas, I've had problems myself, and there's nothing going on now. Unfortunately, today we have a major cold front coming down. A lot of snow up in northern Texas and in Oklahoma. That's supposed to come down, join the southern Gulf Stream, add a lot of moisture, and we're due for an inch and a half of rain here later on today. For the last week or so, they've been forecasting snow off and on, as much as 2 or 3 inches here in the Houston area. But it's one of those things that whether you can't plan on, just like the California fires, you can't plan on that. But that southern jet stream and the low pressure sitting out there over New Mexico area is one that's Arizona actually is one that's just fueling a lot of winds out in the Southern California area, gusts to 60, 70, 80, and they're even saying in some cases maybe 100 miles an hour down some of the canyons. But that's a major problem, and it's just one of those natural disasters that we see periodically. But the snow that I'm may have today here in Texas, hopefully not in Houston, will be on the East Coast here in just another day or two. So it's just a part of our normal process. Now, Houston, you may say, we don't get much snow here. That's true. We might get a dusting every decade. I think Christmas Eve 4 or 5 years ago, we had snow. First time ever on Christmas Eve. It looks like Julie's coming back. Let's hope everything is a go right now. Please join me, Julie.
Thank you, Red.
Oh, fantastic. Great sound. And it's okay. Okay, I asked you earlier about your living in different places of the world. How do you think that enhanced or helped your ability to write?
I think that, as I was trying to say earlier, is that I have been uprooted from my home in England and lived in Wales for a while. And so I learned something about Celtic culture there. And then when I went to Australia, it was a whole different experience. And I was 10 at the time when I went to Australia, and I stayed there through junior high before going back to Wales again. And I think that gives me an idea of what it is for a person to be disconnected and to be able to make the most of where they are and to be able to take what they can from that experience, even while grieving what they've left behind. But it's important to us. I think, especially when I was writing the prophecy, because Wales was so very different from England. They were totally different worlds. England in the throes of the Reformation, and Wales where there was still the pagan belief. There was a connection with the land. There was the connection with the old goddess. Something that there wasn't in England at all. So I feel that does parallel my own experience of having lived in these different countries, all of which it gave me different experiences that I brought to the Tudor property.
I love your accent. Sometimes it's difficult to make out some of the words that are being said, but I've had a number of friends, Scottish and English and whatever, that I have an advantage being able to, I've been next to them and I understand some of the jargon. But anyway, lovely accent. I love it. you started out in a slightly different career. I mean, right now you're kind of in semi-retired environment, but you were a medical physician early on. What caused you? Was there somebody else in your family who was a doctor that said, that's what I want to do? Or why did you become a doctor?
Well, I wanted to be a vet originally, and then I realized that I could probably be more useful with people than with animals. So at around the age of 13 or 14, I decided that I was going to go to medical school and become a doctor. And I think in many ways it was a wise choice, because I do have love for people and caring, and I did want to be able to do something where I could do hands-on and to be able to help individuals one-on-one, which is what like a family physician is able to do. And yet at the same time now, in retirement, I realized that there was a part of myself that I didn't express at all in medicine, and that was the creative element. And so when I got the idea for the book about 20 years ago, it was just vague, and I knew that there was going to be healing in it, but I knew that there was going to be a lot of adventure, and it was going to feature a woman who thought that she wanted one thing, but actually needed something else. And I hope that this will resonate with people, that sometimes we start off in life as we need us, and we don't always get there, and that we may go in another direction in order to find that may satisfy one, but on another level, there's a deeper part of ourselves that opens us. And I think that's what creativity, and for me, writing the two prophecies has brought me completeness.
Well, I know you've been writing this book, The Tudor Prophecy, your first novel, I believe for about 25 years. You've had a couple other books, and you also wrote a play. So the writing is not something that you're unfamiliar with. You have a fair degree of experience in that. But nowadays, and I'm gonna get back to your book here in just a moment, but you had your experience as a medical physician. You're now practicing shamanism, but you're looking at shamanism, as I understand it, to provide insights as to a spiritual cause of disease. Is that a fair statement?
Red, I'm afraid I missed part of what you were saying. You did say about shamanism.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
And so I would like to speak.
Okay. How long have you been practicing shamanism, and how did you come about that a spiritual cause might be a factor in disease?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So because I missed some of what you were saying, I'm not, but I think I got the gist of it. So, well, and you know, with medicine, oh, it's and like just a few weeks ago, you know, like I was prescribing medication for diabetes, and I was prescribing medication for depression, for chronic obstructive airway disease, and all those things that I absolutely believe in. And at the same time, I see a lot of disease that is due to people just not caring. And that I think is one of the tragedies of 21st century medicine, is that people just can't be bothered to exercise, or they're in chronic pain and they can't exercise, or they don't pay mind to what they eat. And these are all, I think, manifestations of the spirit, this sense that we don't have. And we have these wonderful medications, we have these wonderful surgical procedures that help us in our lives and help us to live longer. Yet, this loss of spirit, and that's where shamanism comes in, because it's a way that we can connect with the upper world, where there is spirit of the transcendent type. And you can look at many spiritualities, Buddhism, Islam, Christianity. There's that aspect, and there's also in shamanism the idea that we're connected with the earth and that we can gain power from connecting with the creatures that live on this planet, that have lived here for millions of years, and that their spirits want to help us. And I feel that modern medicine has missed out on this opportunity to avail of spirit help for us as human beings to live our best, healthiest lives here on earth. So that's why I think shamanism is very important and why I enjoy practicing that. And now that I'm retired from medicine, I can do the shamanism more because there is, unfortunately, a disconnect still between the chemical aspects of medicine, which I believe to be absolutely spot on, and the spiritual side of medicine, which needs further investigation and utilization in order for us to reconnect with our spirit and care about ourselves and our souls and our bodies. So I hope that I'm a bit there.
I appreciate that. There are so many things that interact with us in our minds. I'm sitting here in my office and I got, some lights on. I have the computer running. I'm in electrical field. All those things are affecting me. They're affecting my health. The screen has blue light that's affecting me. You mentioned connection with the earth a moment ago. And one of the things I'm noticing a lot more advertising this year for Christmas was some way to ground yourself through your feet to the earth, either through a grounding mat or walking outside barefoot, where we're actually connecting more with our environment. And those are things that 2-3 years ago, yes, they existed. A few people believed in them, but now it's becoming more mainstream. And I'm sure what you're talking about, that as we get more information out like we're doing today, what we think, that doesn't make sense. But it does make sense in the big scheme of things because there are so many things out there we don't know.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, you started writing books a while back, and then you wrote a play. What made you decide to write a novel? And hold up your book because I want people to see your book cover, and we're going to talk about your book here for a little bit. So, The Tudor Prophecy.
You can see it well, yes?
I can see it very well. I see the big chair there. It looks like a blackbird or something sitting on the chair, if I can read that correctly.
Yep, that's a crow.
A crow, okay. Well, let's talk about the cover of your book. Why did you choose those colors? Why the chair and why the crow?
Well, the chair is a throne, and it's
Okay.
not a fully developed throne. It's rather a tentative throne, and it has red cushions on it because it's a feminine throne, because it's awaiting Elizabeth I to sit herself on this throne. And the crow is integral to the story because the crow acts as a go-between between my heroine, Hester Vaughan, and her beloved, who is a bard. His name is Gareth. And they pass messages back and forth through the crow. And the crow is actually holding a ring in his teeth, because the ring is very important to the story, because I'm going to give you the blurb, the elevator pitch, if I can right now, because that will explain a little bit what the scroll is doing on the front cover. So,
Okay.
okay, all right. So the year is 1541, and it's the turbulent time of Henry VIII's Reformation. And I have two cousin herbalists. One is arrested for witchcraft, and the other is molested by Henry VIII, but she later goes on to become betrothed to a bard who was meant to prophesy the ascendancy of Elizabeth I. And when Elizabeth I first becomes Queen of England, she rules with justice and with mercy and is able to address some of the wrongs that were perpetrated by her father, Henry VIII. And so one of the gist of the story is that after Henry VIII molests my heroine, Hester Vaughan, he is full of remorse, and so he bequeaths a ruby ring upon her. And this ring then becomes very instrumental in the rest of the storyline, and the pro is able to in and out with the ring as well as messages. So thank you, Red. That
Okay, back then, I guess there was a bit of a problem between Elizabeth I and Mary as to who was going to be in succession. Is that some part of the story that you carry on also?
well, right after writing this one, I realized that although I planned this as standalone, there's actually another one, and then I realized there's not just another one, there's another one after that. So I do, I'm going to have to, I'm going to follow Elizabeth, because as you know, on the Henry VIII side, his son Edward VI comes, but he doesn't last that long, and then Mary, Elizabeth's older sister, becomes queen. She doesn't last that long, and then Elizabeth comes, and Elizabeth is able to rule for like 44 years. So she's able to actually make something of the country and make it a place where her people are happy, and with the flourishing of the Renaissance, and we have because she's a queen, she can have a court, and so you have like Shakespeare come to the fore then. So yes, all this is going to be in the next two novels.
Well, that was one of the questions I was going to ask you, is there a sequel to this? And you just answered that question. So you have two more books coming out, and they're in that Tudor prophecy or succession as it goes on down the road. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so this period of time is 50 or 60 years after America was started or founded, and so there's still a lot of stuff going on in the world. I read two books actually about 3 or 4 years ago, beginning of COVID, called 1491, the year before Columbus discovered America, and 1493, the year after Columbus discovered America. And they both took into account the impact of Columbus's, discovery. And it went way back in time, and it brought in, I was amazed, literally amazed at how much information was in there. And I now love history. It's one of those things that I periodically look at. But that was one, it's kind of like the Peloponnesian Wars. It's something that's there that we don't always look at. But anyway, for information, 1491 to 1493 might be of some value to you in your future writings, because they bring in a lot of other things going on in the world at the same time that we just don't know about. Anyway, I don't want to steal your time, so let's get back to you. You have that book, and I'd like to have you, if there's a small portion of it you can read, so our viewers can get an idea of your style and the way the book progresses. So is there a paragraph there that you could read that gives people a hint of your writing ability, your style?
Thank you, but I'll read the opening, it's 2 pages. I think that will give some idea. The Tudor Prophecy, Chapter 1, page 1. The cousins reached the chestnut tree and dropped to the grass, panting, and leaned back against its trunk. A crow, disturbed amongst the topmost branches, cawed in protest. Had it been interested in living flesh, it would have noticed Hester, a young woman with hazel eyes, wearing a red woolen dress and a white cross over her head. It would also have observed Alice, slightly younger, garbed in blue silk and a black satin suit. But the crow, interested only in the dead, flew away. I have waited all day to show you, gasped Hester, withdrawing the parchment from her sleeve. I have an audience with His Majesty tomorrow. Alice's eyes widened and her hand flew to her mouth. Surely you jest. Hester frowned at this response and stared up at the chestnut tree's canopy of pink and white flowers. The tree had been late to bloom this year of our Lord, 1541. It had been a harsh winter, and folks whispered this was God's punishment of England. King Henry VIII should never have defied the Holy Father in Rome and installed himself as head of the church. But folks whispered softly for fear of losing their tongues to a steel blade. A peasant twisted onto Hester's skirt. In the legends of King Arthur, the knight always weds the damsel who heals him, and I shall heal His Majesty's leg also. She spoke vehemently, then under her breath murmured, I must, for I have no other recourse. She twirled the petal between fingers and thumb a moment before crushing it. Father will send for me soon, and I do not want to return to Wales to marry a gentleman farmer of his choosing. Wales, the very name sounds pleasing. The youngling sat halfway up a hill overlooking Hartburn, the ancestral home of Sir Hugh, Alice's father, situated near Richmond, 10 miles south of London. The old stone mansion was surrounded by fields in which workers tied the first of the new hay, sending the fragrance upwards. Do you forget the king has a wife already? Asked Alice, taking out her embroidery. Cat Howard, Hester Smith, grimacing. We are wed near a year, and she is not yet with child. She is barren. Hester dropped her voice, and she said she has a paramour at court. She looked around to ensure they were alone, then loudly asserted. Besides, she was penniless when the king wed her, so he will not mind my being so, and I am the same age now that she was when he married her, 17. Hester stared above at a solitary cloud, drifted white and fluffy in a perfect blue sky. Blue was the colour of the Virgin Mary's mantle, and it seemed fitting that the month of May was dedicated to Our Lady. I know you were doing this for Dickie, said Alice, her eyes softening as she touched her cousin's arm. If Father comes and Mother and I fall to leave Hartwell, we women may find refuge in the remains of the convent, but Dickie would not be permitted to see his Hester. Her eyebrows knitted together. But she added with a gnawing of envy in her gut, you are an heiress, you would not remain there long. If Henry takes our land, I shall, but I would love to have a family. Mother worries I shall marry a Protestant and damn my soul to eternity. Alice sighed and laughed. I shall not meet any men, Protestant or otherwise, in your memory. She pouted. But have you thought how any woman could have married her? The king is so huge-larded, every prize hog in the land is called Harry after him. Alice selected a strand of crimson thread to the poppies bordering the figure of St. Anne, teaching her daughter the Virgin Mary's Eve. Hester pretended not to hear and stretched her arms above her head. This last winter the queen had developed from a wild colt of a girl into a comely young woman. Fresh stitching ran down the sides of her body, where the seams had been left out again just the previous week. Hester knew Alice spoke truth about the king's huge force, but she squeezed her eyes shut and focused on enjoying the warmth of the spring sun on her face. I am tired. I was singing lullabies to Vicky until past midnight. John is a great help, but he doesn't understand Vicky's fear of the dark, or that he doesn't like getting soap in his eyes when his hair is washed. Hester brushed away a fly that landed on her forehead. You have been like a mother to him, bathing him, helping him dress, said Alice. But now, John, ouch! Hester set up a hurt. I jabbed my fingers with a smile. What I was saying that John has only been with us a week, and oh, but look, here comes Kitty. A pale-faced boy, small for his 13 years, limped up the hill. He wore a brown woolen jacket, belted at the waist, over grey coat. His knees are covered in mud. He must have taken a fit and fallen, said Alice. He barely goes 2 days together now without Hester rising to greet him. Vicky embraced her in a cloud of mud, smeared onto her dress. Hetty, I am sorry. I have dirtied your pretty dress.
Thank you so very much, Julie.
You're welcome.
A couple quick questions. Any intentions to print this book in another language like French or something else?
Oh, wait, I had not thought of that. But of course, I would love to have it printed in another language, and French would be the one of my choices.
Okay.
Other than having it printed all in Latin.
Well, I know you already have it printed now in British, so that's fine. Not a problem. But anyway, the follow-on question to that one is audiobooks. Are you looking at the series also being available in audiobooks down the road?
I would like that. My publisher, Anne O'Connell of OC Publishing, she is printing it in hard copy and also as an ebook and also as an enhanced ebook for people who are visually challenged. And so I'm really thankful to Anne for doing this. The subject of the audiobook hasn't come up yet. But it is something that I would like to do. And because obviously I have loved the book and I think I speak the language. I feel that's something that I could do. So thank you for suggesting.
Okay. You have a memoir you're writing right now, I understand?
That's right. Yes.
And this is going to be published before the next Tudor series, or is it going to be interspersed or down the road another few years? What's your plan for publishing your memoir?
I'm hoping for that later in the year. The memoir I'm only taking up to age 15, and I may carry on after, seeing as how it goes. But writing the memoir has been a struggle, and writing the Tudor prophecy has given me, in a way, another way of exploring memoir, with more adventure and being able to guarantee a happy ending to my, at least my heroine. Yes. It's because the memoir itself speaks of my own turbulent childhood. My mother having died when I was 4, and my father having succumbed to insanity, and then at the age of 10, going out to Australia and experiencing what a new world was like. And so I take my memoir up until I leave Australia and return to Wales.
Okay, you have several things coming up. We'll get to the end of the show, so I want to be able to make sure people know where to get your books at, where they buy them. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your book launch coming up, and then let's wrap it up with what future events do you have? I know they're listed on your website, but let's go ahead and conclude the show with how do people get in touch with you? How do they get your books and readings and everything else that you're doing?
Look, there is a contact page there on the website, and the website says how the books can be ordered through OC Publishing and through Amazon and through local bookstores here in Halifax, of course. And I am excited about the book launch itself because I have a harpist who's going to come and play some Renaissance music. And also, I think that King Henry VIII had things to be desired as far as a ruler. He actually did create some beautiful harp music. And so my harpist is going to research that. And I'm encouraging people to come. We're not going to be able to get Tudor costumes, but to be able to dress up. I mean, Halifax, the end of January is pretty dismal. So to be able to have a celebration, for people to come and listen to some music and buy my book, yes, and have them signed by me, and to be dressed up and in our new Halifax Central Library. I'm thrilled to this. And my editor, Marianne Ward, who did a wonderful job with my book, will be there. And of course, Anne O'Connell, my publisher, and my family will be there, and many others, I hope.
I just noticed that I was muted and nothing's going on. So let me repeat real quickly. The corner bookstore is concluded. Very shortly, we're going to start with the wise ones. My guest today is Glenda Benavides, a Grammy-nominated singer-songwriter. She was on the corner bookstore recently, and now we're having her on. We'll talk about her entrepreneurial career and how that applies to things that are of value to us. What wisdom has she collected over the years that can help us? And immediately following the wise ones is my show called Talking Heads. Talking Heads is a show where I have a chance to spend some time with my audience, and I talk about various aspects of primarily health and wellness. Today, I'm talking about how do we improve our immune system, something we take for granted, something that gets challenged every day. But today, I'd like to go into a little bit of detail about how it works, what challenges it, and what can we do to make it better. That being said, red.olaughlin signing off on the Corner Bookstore on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. Bye, y'all.
In a world full of noise, misunderstandings, and interruptions, Master the Art of Listening with Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck is the listening mentor of USA Global TV and Radio and the Amazon #1 best-selling author of Mastering the Power of Elevated Listening. Elevate your listening. Elevate your life. Join a global learning experience in person or via Zoom. Reserve your spot today. usaglobaltv.com/book-your-session or drjacalyn.thinkific.com. Join Dr. Kerbeck's listening courses or hire her to unlock deeper connections and authentic conversations. Have you ever felt unheard? Like your words float into a void, leaving you invisible and disconnected? How about feeling judged, when assumptions overshadow your truth, leaving you misunderstood and defensive? And then there's that moment when someone offers solutions you never asked for, dismissing your feelings and leaving you more frustrated than before. It doesn't have to be this way. Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, the listening mentor, understands. She's here to help you reclaim your voice, build stronger connections, and create meaningful conversations that inspire understanding and mutual respect. Through her groundbreaking books, online and in-person courses, and interactive workshops, you'll learn how to navigate life's most challenging interactions. Discover the power of elevated listening and transform how you communicate. Master setting boundaries and asking permission to protect your peace. Learn to recognize and release judgment, fostering empathy and true connection. Dr. Kerbeck also offers personalized coaching, one-on-one or group sessions designed to fit your unique needs. Whether in person or virtually on StreamYard, her guidance will empower you to thrive. You don't have to struggle alone. The path to deeper connections and better relationships start here. Visit drjacalyn.com or usaglobaltv.com. Join a global community of empowered listeners and transform your life, one meaningful conversation at a time. Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck is the listening mentor. Start your journey today.